So let's take a look at how I can isolate this complex shape and how I can transform it into make a few different variations and make some good use of this one shape. So first I'm going to start off by using the magic wand tool. I'm going to do a pretty rough selection with this. And then I'm going to invert my selection, Control Shift I, and then I'm going to click Select and Mask. Okay, so the magic wand tool, it's pretty rough, but it gave me a start here. So on the right here, I have settings that I can use to adjust, and on the left, I have some tools for adjusting the matte. There's quick selection, refine edge, and the brush tool. And you'll also notice that you can switch from plus to minus up here as well. So to add or subtract from the mask. So let's come in here and we can clean up. Now these Photoshop tools keep getting better and better and better. It's so impressive. This type of thing used to be extremely difficult to do. I would have used, before this tool, I would have used a stamp. I would have found like some kind of furry stamp shape, and I would have used like a custom brush to go in here. It would have been much, much harder though, for sure. And now, let's see if we can come in here. There's a different tool. Oops. Just plus. Okay. So this edge is still going to be a tricky one for Photoshop to figure out. It's still not. It's still, the intelligent tools still aren't really getting it. But we can use the brush tool. Now one trick with the brush tool is that if you hold the shift key down, it'll make a straight selection. That can help get a better line instead of, it can be too wiggly if you do the whole thing freehand. Now there is a really great tool, the pen tool is really great at getting curves like this. And we're going to look at that in the future class, in a future lesson. That's that's a whole other thing. But you can get a really nice curve with the pen tool. Okay, so now we'll say OK. And I'm going to click that mask button. And now you can see here's the mask right here. Now, one problem that, one thing that's not so great here is that, the wing is white because it was on a white background, but it's transparent, so it should be showing pink through. So one thing that I can do here is I can go to channels and I can see the mask I can see it in the, so the channel shows a red, green, and blue, one channel for each color that comprises the image, and it also shows the channel for the mask. So I can go in and I can actually work on this mask if I select it in the channel separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the opacity to 25%. I'm just going to go in here like this and paint it in. Okay, and that will give this some trend. Let's soften this brush up a bit. Okay, and now let's take a look at, but now I have a bit of transparency. Now let's see ways in which I can manipulate this. Now one kind of slightly annoying thing see, I can see, if you look, you'll notice that the bounding box for this is actually a bit wide because it's including the original, like the whole space that was the white. So what we can do is we can make sure I have I want to make sure I don't have the mask selected, but I want to make sure I have the original layer selected. And I can draw a selection just around the B here. And I'm going to go Control-Shift-I, invert selection, delete. Okay. And now I have a neater bounding box. Let's reduce this in size. And I can just copy it by holding the Option key down. And well, let's say we want to keep, I made that one, let's keep this one nice and big. A little bit, yeah, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. I can make another one. Here. And now I can also take this one again and invert it. So I can go Edit, Transform, and I can do Flip Horizontal. Make it focus the other direction. And so this is one way of making use of, you can take one image and distort it and make it look like a number of, and get more use out of it than just the single instance. Now let's take a look at some things that don't work so well. So for example, I could also squish this, okay? That doesn't look so good, and that's not something you want to do very often. That's not something that works so often. Right, so this type of transformation is something that you want to avoid. Now, I've gotten a good variation from this one image, but to make that, to really get more variation, it would be good for me to use more than one bee. I would probably go in and try to use a few different variations if I really want to get a lot of different bees in here.